Welcome back, Falcons Faithful. This is Patrick with the Falcons Roost, ready to give you another update on our beloved Atlanta Falcons.
Michael! Oh! That was a look of a man being drafted.
Mike. Hey, how you doing? Hey, man, you ready to be a Falcon, bro? Yes, sir. Let's do it. Hey, man, you think we flew across the country not to make you a Falcon, bro?
Without question, the surprise of the draft on day one was the selection of Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. This move sent shockwaves through the league as most prognosticators placed a much lower grade on the gunslinger. But there is no doubt Penix has the strongest arm in the draft and has the potential to start in the NFL. However, he will sit behind the $100 million man Kirk Cousins to begin his career. But in a bookmark this video to serve as future fodder, the NFL reactions were all over the map. Here is Colin Cowherd's reaction to the selection.
Michael Penix Jr. going to Atlanta at 8. Oh, that's interesting. Well, what they're saying is Kirk Cousins is going to be a 2-year player, a 1-year player. By the way, how lucky is Penix? That O-line, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, 2 backs. How lucky is Michael Penix?
Wow, that's shocking. They're also getting the guy coming off a torn Achilles, right? Who's not a great athlete. So I completely understand what they're doing. Maybe there's doubling. I mean, they're not. Maybe they are doubling down on the quarterback position.
And the always interesting Mike Florio from NBC and Pro Football Talk. If there is a negative to be found, Geraldo Florio will uncover it.
It all makes sense when they explain it. But this gets back to the original point we made. Why didn't they tell Kirk that that was their plan? Because I have a feeling that, based on the reaction from his agent, that completely and totally blindsided, completely contrary to everything that they had said to Kirk. You're our guy. Let's go win. Let's get guys to help you win. We're going to win. Oh, let's draft a guy that's going to be on the bench while you play. Yep. And that very reasonable, that's the kind of thing, because it's automatic. Every business is a relationship business. And it undermines the relationship that was still forming between Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. And it is literally the turd in the punch bowl now that Kirk Cousins has to deal with. And it goes completely against everything that he was led to believe by the Falcons.
If TMZ ever needs correspondence, look no further than Florio.
What are we doing? Like, that's just a simple question. So naturally, you cut to the Falcons' brain trust, you just mentioned it, and they go right to it. We're doing the Jordan Love formula. There's a few slight, really key differences between the Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. The Jordan Love formula, which worked for the Packers, the year prior to drafting Jordan Love, they were a 13-win team. The year after drafting Jordan Love, they're a 13-win team. This was already a juggernaut that was in the playoffs, winning playoff games every single year. The Atlanta Falcons, doing the Jordan Love family, haven't been to the playoffs, Peter, in 7 years. So we have no turnkey playoff team that we're just going to have the luxury of stashing some quarterback for a few years. We need players. We haven't been to the playoffs since post-28-3. Like, it's been a long time. So
ESPN analyst and ex-Falcon corner Dominique Foxworth weighed in after having a night to sleep on the selection, and here were his thoughts.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I think my reaction was like everyone else's, but I might be surprising some of our producers where I feel like I'm pivoting a little bit. I don't know that the decision makes a ton of sense for the short term. We thought that they were all-in franchise, but if you think back the times where this has happened in the past, you think of Aaron Rodgers while Brett Favre is there. You think of Jordan Love while Aaron Rodgers is there. You think of Jalen Hurts while Carson Wentz is there. If we think that quarterbacks need a little bit, and Jalen Hurts was a later pick, I understand, second round, which I think we all agree that quarterbacks don't get enough time to develop, and the quarterback position is the most important position in football. If they had a high grade on this guy, and Kirk Cousins, coming off Achilles injury, is an older guy, the idea that they could maybe be securing their quarterback room for the next 2 years, and then 5, 6, 7 years after that, it's a different strategy. But it's a risk worth taking when the opportunity cost is there, but the opportunity cost is not nearly big enough to make up for the value of if you land the right quarterback.
That brings us to ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky and his take after the selection was made.
When the draft happened last night, I was unbelievably perplexed by this pick. And then I went to bed and I thought about it a little bit more. And then I had some insight shared. And not only do I love the pick, I totally understand it. Okay, yes. Atlanta's perspective. Number one, hear me out. Number one, they had Michael Penix as the second best quarterback in this draft attached to Jaden Daniels, okay? Number two, they expect to be very good with Kirk Cousins over the next couple years. And in experience last night, realizing how expensive it is to get up in the draft when you are back half like that and go get a quarterback, they realized it's going to be too expensive eventually. And then number 3, when it came to specific of their experience with Michael Penix, they went and worked him out on a day where it was 50 degrees and windy, and he threw outside. And they all said, leaving that workout, it was like watching somebody throw the football inside. And a couple people there have attachments to Matthew Stafford. And they said it's the closest they've ever seen anybody to throw the football like Matthew Stafford. You don't take a quarterback in the top 10 unless your owner is not only on board with it, wants it.
Former ESPN analyst, podcaster, and the voice of sports in all Adam Sandler movies, Dan Patrick weighed in on his thoughts.
You got your future quarterback, but what did you do to the present-day quarterback? And that is, you maybe robbed him of an opportunity to get an offensive player. Was C.D. Lamb available in that draft?
Yeah, the 2020 draft, the Packers traded up. They could have had players like they could have traded up a little bit more and had Justin Jefferson. They could have traded down and got Michael Pittman Jr. They could have got players like that. T. Higgins. Good receivers were on the board.
Yeah, so they could have helped out Aaron Rodgers. But we can say now after the fact, because we watched Jordan Love, certainly the second half of the season, might have been the best quarterback in the NFL. Hey, it worked out. But did it work out? Because Aaron Rodgers wasn't helped out right there in the moment. So you are planning for the future while ignoring the present. And then you look at what the Falcons did. All right, so you could use some defense, and you decide you're going to bring in Michael Penix Jr. I got a quarterback that I'm locked up for 3 years. I got $100 million guaranteed, and he's coming off Achilles surgery. First of all, I wouldn't have signed him. Second of all, if I knew that I was going to be in love with Michael Penix Jr., and I could have gotten him because nobody else was going to go up that high. Now, I know teams have said, hey, Seattle was going to go up. Denver tried to go up. The Raiders tried to go up. How high did you try to go up? Because I was told probably the Jets were open for business if you wanted to move up there. Nobody had Atlanta taking Michael Penix. It's like, wait. Did we trade the pick? No, you guys have the pick, and you took Michael Penix Jr.
Stunner of the night came with the 8th pick when the Falcons took who? What?
Skip Bayless sat down with Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson this morning to reflect on the selection and give their insights.
Hey, I love this move, but how about you, Michael? What you got?
I love this move, too. I thought this was, outside of what Chicago did, the still of the draft right here. Remember, we talked about this a while ago, but we talked about Atlanta going after Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. As a fill-in, still go and get your young quarterback, or we'll get a Russell Wilson and then go get a young quarterback. I dubbed it then the now and later. Remember I told you about that can guy, like the now and later. And what they got right now is great work right now for the young trio of gifted, talented players that they have. And B. John Robinson, you know, they have Kyle Pitts and Drake London. I want to get the most out of those guys. They're Pro Bowl ready, budding on all pro players right now. So I got Kirk Cousins in there right now for the next 2 years to throw this ball around. And then in those 2 years, I'm going to develop Michael Penix Jr. We talk every day up here on a desk, any TV, about the importance of the quarterback position in the NFL. Arthur Blank, time is running. He wants to get a ring. He says, since 2016, I've been without a quarterback. That's when Matt Ryan got MVP and they took him to the Super Bowl. He said, since then, I've been hurting at that position. And he said, I'm investing in it totally. I think they did a great job showing up the most important position in the National Football League.
Did Arthur Blank, and I know there's this video going around on social media.
It was of Terry Fontenot talking to after the
and they want to make it seem like as though he's explaining to him. Don't believe that. That's a lie. I'm telling you the truth. This is an Arthur Blank selection. Because in 2 years, Michael Penix will be ready to challenge Kirk Cousins for the starting spot.
If not before, but
I was going to say, if not before, I doubt it will happen this year.
No.
Most likely, if anything, in 25, they'll start to look at it because it's not the same as it used to be where you got money tied up in somebody and you go, well, we got to play this dude because we got 50 million. They don't care anymore about that because the salary cap is so large that they'll just cut bait. They did it with Russell. They'll just cut bait. They'll cut bait. So the earliest I see him playing is in 25 and challenging him, right, in this situation. The thing that you got to think about, Michael mentioned it, they got offensive weapons.
They're not completely sold on Kirk Cousins, but as you always say, it's just the cost of doing business in today's NFL. We don't have anybody, and he's available. Okay, let's just close our eyes and say, let's just take him. Is it possible he'll be there at 8? Well, I told both of you, we talked yesterday. Who's your third best quarterback in the draft? Obviously, there's Caleb, and obviously there's Jaden. And I told both of you, I'll take Michael Penix Jr. over Drake May as my third best quarterback.
You and Dion.
Okay, that is true. He campaigned for him. Well, he not only campaigned, he said it's an injustice to this young man that nobody's paying enough attention to what he accomplished. I sat in this chair last year and I campaigned for him to win the Heisman over your guy Jaden just because he carried them to an undefeated season. Undefeated. And he got to Michigan in that game, and they beat the unholy hell out of him. I mean, they couldn't protect him. He got ransacked in that game. You know,
but when you look at that Michigan game, that's the NFL, though.
Yeah, that's
so when you evaluate them, you are looking at that Michigan game because that's what he's going to see in the National Football League.
The Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. What are your 2 cents on it?
Analyst Dan Orlovsky made his way over to the Rich Eisen show to discuss further why he felt this selection was a good move for the Falcons.
I've shared this, but number one, they had Michael Penix as the number 2 quarterback in the draft, top 4 player. He was neck and neck with Jaden Daniels for them, so they valued the player. Number 2, they realized and expected, I mean, this is a team that won 7 games last year with pretty darn poor quarterback play. They think they're going to be pretty good with Kirk over the next couple of years, so they don't believe that when that time comes to go get that next guy, it's going to be as easy as, like, even myself thinks it is to get up in the draft, you know, to go get a guy that you really believe is that talented of a quarterback. And the third thing was they went out for a private workout with Michael, and they said 50 degrees, windy day, and everyone thought they were inside watching him throw the football. And they said,
I saw him too throw the football. Like, and again, going all in on criticizing the pick, as I guess I did to start this program. And not Jerry Jones all in. Like, I literally went all in.
It was like, didn't you disrespect a little bit?
You know, I didn't disrespect.
You prefaced it by saying it wasn't.
No, I prefaced it by saying this has nothing to do with Penix's ability.
Right.
Or rightful top 10 pick in this draft.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with that. I mean, the kid throws it. He's unbelievable.
Right.
It's just that then why are you paying Cousins $100 million?
This is the question most fans have been asking as well. When we at the Roost did our draft evaluation after the season, we were all in on Penix as well. However, that was before the Cousins signing. It seems like the Falcons could have traded for a big play edge rusher like Daniel Hunter or Trey Hendrickson with the money used to acquire Cousins. But that's playing armchair quarterback, and we leave that to the professionals.
And, you know, the hoopla is so significant. He talks about, I'm going to retire here. And the entire time he's talking about retiring here and throwing out a pitch at the Braves game, they're pounding the pavement on his replacement.
Yeah.
And that is a wild way to build a team and try and win now for the team that is set to win now. And that's a locker room is going to have to deal with it. And obviously Raheem Morris, that's what he can do. And he's outstanding at dealing with personalities and figuring all that out. It's just a weird way of going into the 2 seasons of saying, hey, we're all in on you. We need you to win right now. We'd love to win right now. We think we can win right now.
This will be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Check back with us in a couple of years and let's see how well this video ages. Get in the comments and share your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and keep up with all the news and notes coming soon about our Dirty Birds. Until then, everyone, cue the outro.